Hi there, guys. It's me, Brian Cockrell, aka the Taxman on the Taxman Show. We had to stop there because the police had been. Obviously, the idiot from Stokes has phoned up, started laughing and mentioned his name. The police said, "Oh, we're watching it ourselves. It's really interesting." So they've just checked us out thoroughly for 20 minutes. They've been on the radio, checked Kevin, checked me out, checked my wife out. So yeah, we're not illegal because we're in a bubble, it's called. So we're just going to go ahead with it. So it just shows you how bad that man will go. Just to try and destroy me. The trolling and the evil things he's been doing for the last 6 months, it's all coming to an end, mate. And this just proves to the public out there how evil this man is. And thank you to the police officers who've been out because we're absolutely outstanding when we just like to thank them, Cleveland Police, for letting us go ahead. All we're trying to do is help people with mental health. Me and Kevin are friends for 32 years, just trying to give a few bits of stories, a bit of fun out there, a bit of hope for people to something to watch.
And we obviously sticking to the COVID rules.
Of course we are,
they asked me, did I live on my own? And I do live on my own. And one of my family, or a couple of my family, my sons are getting involved in opening the pub, the Leeds Hotel soon, which is getting an out a bit Irish bar theme and that.
Looking good.
And I even said to them, if they ever passing by, call in for a drink, welcome, they're very, very busy people, and
they're doing a good job, aren't they?
Doing a really good job.
Yeah,
so actually it was a bad night for you, that Stokely,
At least we know you'll be able to come every week and do it now.
Thank you for them. Thank you for doing that, Mr. Boyle.
And the stories are going to be even better.
Yes, because I was a little bit nervous because I was thinking, I'm a bit law. So I already spoke to someone about it, and I was told by somebody legal said, no, you're not if you give us all the terminology. But the police officer checked up everything. Check Kevin, check me, check my wife. We're all legal. So thank you.
Yeah, it's good that we've been able. It broke the script up a little bit.
Yeah, but it's good. It's all part of the excitement. This is what it's like to be one of the Cockrells. And we're all family, all of us, So it's just water of a couple's back.
A few highlights of things we're going to be talking about in the next episode, which will be a lot more exciting than this. I just want to tell you a little bit about my background and some other kids' backgrounds who might have been like mine, a bit shy, phobic. But we're obviously going to get into the crime scene and some things. There's a lot of things happened. I mean, in Winniebanks, we had a few murders with the Rico Richardson thing everyone will remember, and you've got Keith McQuaid, you've got quite a lot of unsolved murders, John McPartlin dying in jail, lots of big stories to go on. And then we're going to get into the other side of it. If anyone in future on the crime thing wants to post any questions for future, Emma and Brian put a little bit of a highlight on about what we're going to talk about next week. And then afterwards, we're going to do a health nutrition one. If anyone wants to ask any questions, because even though this COVID is bad, it's a virus, there is also lots of other viruses about and other illnesses which maybe the doctors should be looking to check out for, heart disease, cancers, mental health,
A lot of people, the COVID is real because we've had it, me and my wife, but a lot of people are dying as well because these people need to have treatment for cancer, and it's been put in the back burner, and loads of people are dying of cancer and other illness, and they're just blaming on the COVID, aren't they?
Yeah, well, so many, I think they said about 8,000 had been diagnosed with cancer, whereas if it hadn't been for the COVID, they'd have been diagnosed earlier and maybe it's prevented, and there's a lot of other bad illnesses about, and people have got to look at them as well. The COVID's a virus, it's a bad virus, but obviously the immune system, which we talk about a lot, is very, very, very efficient. Brian knows a hell of a lot about medicine, health and nutrition. I've studied it for 40 odd years.
Well, Kevin was called Dr. Kilty.
Yeah, well, I've got
Dr. Kildare, I used to call him.
The two people who named me Dr. Kilty was a great friend of mine, Carl Sturman from the Dolphin. And Brian called me. And when I get onto Richard's athletics career, there's a little bits of things I want to mention about the Dolphin and how supportive they were of Richard and that, in them days. Lots of things to talk about.
So
and then you talk about your training, didn't you?
Well, he was there when I did the 2,000-pound leg press. 3 different gyms.
Plus,
he was there when I squatted 8 plates. He was there. I used to spot me benching 6 plates, and there, Michael used to say, "Is he taking the piss? He's got 6 plates each end on here." And the bar used to bend, and they used to no serious.
You used to have to get new bars.
And he was telling Donny Yates once. You and Donny Yates, Kerry Case, him and Donny Yates were talking about me. He said he's benching 6 plates for Red Doreen. He went, strongest bodybuilder I know. He said,
even the likes of you know, the great Lenny McLean and that knew about Bry. You know about.
And his training partner.
He wasn't. His training partner was Mick Theo, ex-British champion, and that, you know, and also another great strongman as well, which up the top. So Eddie Ellenwood, outstanding athlete,
six
dedication,
just the universe,
unbelievable. You know,
I wish I had about that dedication.
The family know everything about it. You've got to admire him about how he stood up for his business and that.
Brilliant, absolutely fantastic.
Great bloke. Some stories about Eddie.
Even Arnold come to shake his hand and everything. And sent him a letter and said he broke his record.
Absolutely, magnificent. Yeah, going back to Brian when he did do that leg press, and we'd get into it in detail. But it was above Bill Boyd's gym, which was then a ex-chapel. Remember?
Yeah.
And not long after, it ended up getting knocked down, but I think that was because of all the weight we put on the leg press.
And God bless Bill Boyd, but he used to come out. He came out with a bit of bullshit sometimes. You say, he'd say, I haven't done that as well as you. So you mean you can do that, Brian? But he never done when we were there. It was always on his own. He was a funny man. And with Tom Platts in that gym, didn't he?
Tom Platts had a lot of good people there.
After him with Battle Fox at the Olympia, he was there.
Yeah.
We met loads of brilliant people, and from going to the bodybuilding as well, it's totally different from what it used to be. All this growth, I've got this bubble cut and everything. Kevin was a bodybuilder, he competed, didn't he, Kevin?
Did some photos
some good photos, and he looked really well. But in them days, people had a little waist and wide shoulders, and God bless him, Les Over. He could have been Donny Yates. He was unbelievable. Unbelievably dressed. Les wasn't he? Brilliant. But
I mean, them early days, there was only a few bodybuilders about. There was the old school, John Citrone and that, Marty Brown, another great bodybuilder. Me and Denny got into it later on, and lifeguards. Both in the TA together, and that was some great physiques. Peter Johnson. Loads of Craig Howard, some excellent physiques, you know, which we talking.
Denny Oil did well, didn't he?
Denny Oil did great. Fifth place in the universe, Denny. And I entered many shows against Denny. In fact, the first show I entered, I got into really, really good condition. Denny, won't be able to get him on, he'd tell you about it. And I won the show, and I competed against him many times after that. And then Denny won them shows. But I went into one last show where I beat Denny, but Denny went on to excel greatly, and he's in good shape now, you know. But he always says he would never have made it if it wasn't for his great wife Jill, who was great at everything.
Well, he said to me, why I went to see him, didn't he? He said, I can't believe how big he is. We went to Bishop Hall, didn't we, once, and he said, he's ridiculously big, isn't he?
Power. I should tell some great stories about that, you know. One of them, when we were going on the roundabout at Bradford, there was me, Bry, and Michael Flanagan, and there was this lorry coming really, really close. We were on the inside the roundabout, couldn't go any further unless we went on the roundabout. And Bryce just stood there then casually, winds the window down, said, if it comes any closer, I'm going to fucking push it over.
We had some fun. I was doing a break room with 3 plates each end, and he was Kevin knew how strong I was, but then Michael was shocked. He couldn't believe these to watch me doing these bad weights.
And he'd do it for a laugh. The Brian would do it for a laugh, you know, and
just to showing off. But in a good way.
And if you send these struggling, and we'd say, "Come on, one more, Brian." You silly guys, you know.
I was telling you, it was Mark Lenny's gym, so it's Mick Lawrence, I think he's called now. He owns it. The Steel City, and I went there. I used to have 100 kg tricep push down. We had this saddle thing made that would go over the weights. You could put 2 20-kilo discs on, and I was doing tricep push. I snapped the chain on that. Then I broke his leg press for £2,000. That snapped, and then I bent the bar, because the bars in them days were Mark gym was pounds, 50 pounds. I used to have 6 plates in each end of the bar, and there was it worked out £630 I could bench on there. And there was a lad who was Olympic, so not Olympic, it was Mr. Universe came And he said, I've seen anyone do this type of work. So I was doing it. And he phenomenal.
So was that the Mark Lanning?
It was Mark Lanning.
Was it a bloke called Phil, wasn't it?
Phil. Phil Hickman's not there. Phil.
Yeah, he was very good man. Yeah,
black lad from America. He was really good. He just was like shocked because he was more into the bodybuilding stuff. But then he always used to say he should have went and had the strongman shows. I don't understand why he didn't, because you've definitely done really good. Yeah, the
strength was for you, especially some of the ex-stars. You know, I mean, leg press. There's not many people in the world that could have pressed that amount of weight. But there's also some good stories we go into as well about the nightclubs. I mean, I worked on the door for a lot of years, and as I was coming towards the end of my door years, Bryce started being in very big demand for places like Berlin, the Top Arts, you know, and there's some tales there we can tell about a lot of things, you know.
Henry Africa's was
Henry Africa's, and
Waterfront. I remember throwing the lad up the top of the bridge there when Bob Raw and Cookingham stopped me, and I threw him a 30-foot drop, but they both, I hit him and I picked him up. I went to throw him off, but he fell into the embankment. So probably saved him from getting killed. So he's dead now, the same lad. But some stories.
Great stories, you know, and then Tall Trees.
Tall as well. They're not rubbish. We used to have the Maldon with Mark Johnson. Was a tough lad. Ali Johnson, Adish, and
Kev Scott. Another good lad I will talk about. Me and Kev Scott had the pleasure of doing a bit of work with Bob Monkhouse, Michael Barrymore, which we could have worked for permanently. And I'll tell the story why I didn't at the time. Some great jobs we could have had, you know.
You even knew the lad who was bodyguard to Lady Diana, didn't you?
Well, Brian's friend, my brother Brian, he's a good friend with a lad called Trevor Rees-Jones. I had the pleasure one time when Brian said to me, it wasn't that long after all this carry on with Princess Diana, we were down in Wales, and he said, coming into a pub now, there's me, Brian, Melanie, and a lovely lady friend of mine called Pat Kitchen, great lady. We were down there visiting Brian. He said, come into this pub, there's someone at the bar, you'll instantly recognise him, but please, he's expecting you, don't ask him any questions. Didn't have a clue who it was. Walking through the door, 5 metres in front, there's the survivor of the crash, Trevor Rees-Jones.
The one I was in with Lady Diana in the tunnel.
The only survivor.
He's the only one who survived,
And Brian says, and lots of people say who are expertise such as these, that, you know, people say she was assassinated. He said it wasn't. And what you should do is read the book, A Bodyguard Story.
He read that book,
a great book, because his face was all disfigured and everything. But he's a very good friend of Brian's, you know, a very... a big presence of a character, you know, and give him his due. That bodyguard, no matter what anyone's opinions are, bodyguard has never changed his story. Hasn't jumped on the bandwagon and said he done this or that, the other. He stood by his word, and he's never said a word bad about Princess Diana, you know. So and there's some great stories. One story where when I was working at the mall, and I won't tell you in detail now about when Shabba Ranks, remember him who sang Mr. Loverman?
Yeah, I remember your Heidi.
It's quite comical now, but I saved his life actually. But I'll tell you the story later on. So
Heidi was in a ones with a pop song, wasn't she?
Oh no, Heidi was in a pop song.
That's his daughter, Heidi. Brown. You remember the jiu-jitsu like that?
With a really up and coming who was going to be a mega star. And his stage name was Pinky Lou, and he's from London, and she done a video with him which was due to go on Top of the Pops when she was only, I think, 5-year-old, something like that, 6-year-old. She was great. They called it Cash Money, the song. So and there's some great tales about Heidi. You know, one tale about Heidi was Paul Epstein. We were in the gym once, and Heidi's only, I think, 14 maybe.
Lovely lad. He was the instructor, wasn't
he? Great lad. And me and Richard were in talking to Paul. Heidi walks in. She's only 14-year-old. She wasn't with Bram. Never lifted a weight in her life, ever. Never lifted a weight. And she said, can I have a look around the gym? Yeah. Richard shouted to me, Dad, Paul, get over here quick. I never lifted a weight. She's on the squat bar with 100 kilograms going down and up. So this is how you do this, guy.
She could have been like another world champ, couldn't she?
Well, she could have been a great sprinter.
She was good.
She was 60, 100, 200 metre. And then Richard are the first siblings ever in Great Britain that have won the North East or any county in Great Britain 60, 100 and 200 metre championship in the same year. It's not been done before. But Richard's other great asset. As I say, I'm going to talk about Richard in depth. Some really good stories, some sad stories.
Talking about his trees, talking about his spiking, give that a little story.
Oh, yeah, well, Richard might not even have known it at the time, but we were at the Astronaut at the time and started putting the rent up, and Bri come up as he knew Richard was running and all that. Now, I mentioned when I get a few bob, I'm going to get Richard a new pair of spikes. And anyway, Bri handed us some money, said, there's some money for that, get Richard the spikes. And the spikes, actually, we bring them on the next show, he's still got them there, you know, size 4, little 4 suede Nike spikes to wear. So some great stories. And Richard's other, his wife, Dovale.
Yeah.
She's like a superstar in Lithuania. Lithuania triple jump, very powerful, feminine lady. And we talk about people's look. She's a beautiful girl.
Yeah.
But I say I know ugly girls. Not ugly girls, not ugly people.
We won't mention you.
Well, I wouldn't call them ugly. Beautiful. I know beautiful people who don't have to be stunning.
No.
You know, and it's not all about your looks and this, that, and
inside, isn't it?
It's inside. There's some great, lovely people who might not be blessed with looks, but they've got lovely souls.
People,
they mean a lot more.
My wife's got both. She's beautiful.
Not tonight in pyjamas, everyone. I've just seen
she's a great writer.
She's a great writer. She's written that book in 3 months.
She did write it as well, and she's great at it.
And the thing is, well, like Kevin said, she's only had us two shit houses didn't dare answer the door. She had to go to the door to the place.
We were just looking there. But Emma made
they were fantastic.
They were great.
They were great.
Emma made them an offer they couldn't.
Always trying to do. They're always trying to do is help people. All I do is I've got the YouTube channel out there. You know what we're on. We're up to 5,000 views, just over 5,005 months, I think it is, and a lot of jealousy out there with people. Oh, we're doing it for nothing. We do. I mean, my hands knackered at the moment. I've got Kevin's seen my prognosis was from my back. I've got
really bad.
The vertebrae taken out and all sorts. I've got to have a bone graft put in, all different kinds of things. I'm getting them every day still.
What
still
is it
doing
you've got, Kevin? You know the
spinal stenosis,
cervical stenosis.
Yeah. So I'm still getting out of bed, still doing my training, still helping people, still giving health.
Trying to give advice to people. You're not doing it for your own fame and fortune or popularity. Or we're not bragging about. We're doing it to give people, help people, give them a story. And hopefully some of these crime stories might stop today's youngsters getting into crime.
I don't want these books. See this book we've written, right? Most of the people in this book have died or been killed. They're not here no more. So we're not trying to glorify this book. We told the truth about Lee Duffy. We were sick of him getting called a monster, saying he was this, that, and the other. So we told the truth. And people love the book because they can relate to it. Like Kevin can relate because he's been here and been there. But when you write a book about something, like the other people who've written books about Lee, didn't even know the man. Fair enough, I might have only known him 5 or 6 months. But I did know him. I was with him. I did tax with him. I was doing tax from part in the yard. And when I went to jail, it was funny that Lee died and everything. It was not funny in that way, but the funny thing was I went to jail. It was like the police put me out of the way and then Lee got killed. There was another way of getting us off the streets with it. So
I mean, the other lad who's writing books and the pathetic and a bit annoying when you see good people penning the book for him. I'm thinking not another one fell for it. It's just for the glory. Some people are doing it, aren't they? Because you know the lad we were on about. I don't know whether you know. Recently, he tried to get a job selling The Big Issue, and they knocked him back. They wouldn't let him sell it. He got dressed up as a Romanian.
It's crazy. But this is the thing. What we're on about, the troll, the bullying, and non-stop. It's all coming to an end for him.
It's an amazing thing how the police are straight out as soon as they're
good point. We had our other friend here not long ago, Terry Dixon, did a podcast on him, spoke about him, and a friend of ours, Tony Turner, was on the computer. So Terry was saying, I'm just at Brian Gown doing a podcast. They got a phone call, the police from Middlesbrough. It's about a 15-minute drive from there to here. They were here in 15 minutes automatically for them again to try and arrest Terry. But when they found out and what Terry had been going through, what he's been doing, it's going wrong. They're going to be getting arrested. That's what's going to happen. It's all going wrong for them, isn't it? So
he's actually lucky that Terry and yourself and other people have not done what they could have
Used
had
to
done
do.
years ago,
yeah,
because
yeah.
he could have been somewhere on the top of Mount Everest.
Yeah.
You know, on a seriously very, very lucky.
Yeah.
Very lucky.
Or under Mount Everest. Yeah, he's just absolutely crazy. He's written books about people, and he really, really thinks he's that character now. He thinks he's a big, tough guy. He's got these people behind him, but he hasn't got no one behind him. It's just, it's all smoke and mirrors. He's just a narcissistic bully coming to the end of his days now. And I've looked at his page. It's like, do you know in the old cowboy films, you see the tumbleweeds blowing? That's what his page is like. There's nothing on it. It's stagnant. No one's on it. No one's talking to him. And that's why he has to create false accounts and talk about himself.
I'm surprised. And I think there's a couple of people who are apparently still okay with him. I think they'll come to find him out.
Yeah, they're in the same shoes as I was. And he's so much of a con man. He's such a what a liar. He plays that another card. What's it called? The victim. He's so good. Him and his wife are playing the victim. So look at them tonight. Trying to stop us for this show we're doing tonight. All we're doing is trying to help you.
They just wasted police time.
Yeah, exactly.
They had the police outside for 20 minutes watching the podcast, checking you out, checking Ryan out, checking me out, and then the police come and said everything's all right.
What if there was a car crashing on the road, somebody was getting nearly killed or something? The police have had to come here, wasting their time. He should be charged for wasting their time. That's what he should be. But he's doing this all the time. So he did it, little Basil last week, little man, Raymond Man. He called him something and he got the police on him. That's all he does.
But he hasn't stopped you, so
we're still going on.
You know, he's like off The Godfather, Fredo the Grass.
Yeah.
Fredo, the little weasel.
He's living with the fishes soon.
Going swimming soon.
Yeah. So right, we're gonna call that a day.
I hope you tune in to the next 3 episodes because they're going to be really good. Really
and there's going to be no talk. He's not even going to get any airspace.
No. We just had to say it, guys. Can you all know? The comments on here, I can see other people know who's phoned the police.
We might actually do it because we're allowed to in a pub, another venue. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's brilliant. So thank you, Kevin, again.
Thanks again.
And thank you again
for watching.
God bless you all. Thank you.
Take care. Good night.
Stay safe.
Will you press that one? Finish.
I think next week, you get a real